Defiance Season 2, Episode 6, This Woman's Work. Definitely a really good episode. I love the ending to this one, it was very interesting. But the entire episode itself I thought was pretty good. It had its multiple storylines, which they really do this season. I feel like they didn't do that nearly as much last season, or almost at all, really. But this one, they really have so many plot lines that were introduced last season, and they tend to talk about all of them in every single episode. The only one that they really haven't touched on too much since the beginning of the season is the doctor's storyline. They haven't really talked about hers that much, and she's really, oddly enough, her being out of prison, she's been in the show much less, which I find very ironic. But it had multiple storylines, all of which were fairly interesting. Pottinger having this new mission where it's supposed to be this energy source. At least that's what they told everyone. It's supposed to be reusable energy. It can change the world. It's really just yet another weapon for the E-Rep to have. And in this episode, he takes Nolan out. They find the ship. They have to deal with this uh, sort of pure energy creature. I thought, based off of the little clip we got to see, I always just assumed it was a robot that was just really deadly. And we find out in this episode it's actually a creature within this machine, and it's just a creature made of pure energy. So that was really interesting. Pottinger, whose name I always thought was Rodinger. I don't know why. I guess it's because the info always spelled his name with an R. I don't know, but I always thought it was Rodinger. But Pottinger sends his bioman out there. He gets killed. I thought that was a really sad scene. It was like, it wasn't super dramatic or anything, but it was just like, you knew he was gonna die, and Pottinger just sent him out there like, as much as I care about you, and I know I saved your life, and I, built you back up so that you could be my bodyguard because I like you. I'm just gonna send you out there, and you won't question it because you're not really that smart, and I know I can just tell you, yeah, this is gonna work, so go ahead and do it. And that's what he did. And it was kind of messed up. It was like he sent him out there to die, and he knew he would die, but he wanted to live more than he wanted to die, so he sent his bioman out there. And he does at least give a crap after it happens. He does honor him, not only by being the one that actually killed the machine, but he, when he has drinks and stuff, he does a toast for him. But that was a crappy scene to me. I thought that kind of sucked that he sent him out there like that. And then even with all the crap he had to deal with during the mission, losing all his men, losing his bioman who he knew for years, he still gets screwed over because basically his boss comes in and he's like, well, you failed, so that's all there is to it. You're getting kicked to the curb now, and I'll take over the city. So I don't know if Pottinger's gonna really be out of the series. I don't think he will be. I'm hoping he's not, because I actually like his character. I find him very interesting. He's like the bad guy, but at the same time he has a lot of emotional crap. Like, his backstory is really, really good. I always enjoy it. But I don't know, I'm definitely excited to see where his character goes now that he's going to be getting kicked out. And he might end up coming right back or something, but who knows. But that was one great storyline. And then the other was with Arissa and Tommy. And Tommy kind of had his own little storyline within that storyline where he wanted to quit and he was going to leave with his girlfriend. And then he finds Arissa and he sees her doing what she basically told him she does. And he has no idea what to do. So in the end of this episode, he does decide to stay, and his girlfriend breaks up with him, which makes sense. I mean, it's one of those crazy situations, the love triangle stuff, which I thought was actually interesting for this show because it's not prominent in this show. It's just like, they Arissa and Tommy liked each other in season 1. Arissa had to leave the town because of what happened with her, and then Tommy had to move on, and that's what happened, and then it became a love triangle when they came back to Defiance. So I actually enjoy it in this, and plus this was probably the most they ever talked about it, and I think there was one other episode before where they talked about it, but he decided to stay, and his girlfriend broke up with him, and then she ended up sleeping with Nolan, which it's kind of a dick move on Nolan's part. I mean, I don't know if he was kind of mad at Tommy still or what, but he just didn't give a crap and he slept with her. I was like, I don't know if I would have done that even if we were arguing and stuff. But they end up together, and Tommy's I don't know if he's actually gonna end up with Arissa, or he might now that his girlfriend broke up with him, but who knows. But it was definitely cool that Arissa was found out. I wasn't sure how that was gonna go. It was much calmer than I was expecting, where he did actually listen to her. But now he's got to figure out how does he help her without letting anyone else know, because he knows that no one's going to die if he finds out. and he can't really get anyone else involved because they might die as well. It's really a life or death situation, but he couldn't really say that to his girlfriend, so he's just there for Arissa now, and who knows how that's gonna play out. But I'm definitely excited to see where things go with Arissa and how hopefully we'll get more information now that Tommy's involved with it. He'll kind of be like us, where it's like we don't really know anything about it. We've seen her do it, and we've got like tiny bits and pieces here and there. But with Tommy kind of searching for answers, hopefully that'll be the writer's way of giving us all the answers that we want too. So I'm hoping that's what we get in the next couple of episodes. But once again, we'll have to wait and see where they go as characters from now on. And then the third storyline, of course, my favorite part of this season so far, is just everything with Daytak and his family, which it mostly focused on his wife, and he was in it kind of knowing exactly what went down and stuff. So I kind of enjoyed that ending scene when they were together, especially when he mentions how he could have, like, his wife could have easily framed him, but she didn't. I did enjoy that part because he was right. It was like she could have easily put that on him. Although I feel like it does make a lot more sense to go after the guy who's coming after you, pretty much. It makes way more sense to do that. But she could have set it up on both of them. She has the skills to do that. So I definitely enjoyed that part of it. She was trying to get the woman to join her side, and they were sticking to their ways. And I knew she was going to kill the one woman because it was like she was the one who was really defiant. Like, we have to stick to our way. She was getting really mad about it, and the other girls were just like, no, I don't. We can't really do that. But the preacher's wife was clearly set in their cultural ways. I was like, as soon as she really stepped out, I was like, she's done for. But she ended up killing all three of the women, and I thought they were in Daytak's home. I wish I could remember his wife's name, but I can't. But I thought they were in their home, but they were actually in the preacher's home. So it was the perfect trick. She killed all three of them and set it up on the preacher, and then he gets torn apart, and she's good to go. She's got him out of the way. Everyone else is really distracted by the fact that this holy guy who wants to keep the cultural ways killed three women simply because they were trying to revolt, which makes sense, or it doesn't make sense, but it's like people can understand the ones who are set in their culture, like, okay, he's upset, but he didn't have to just poison all three of these women. He could have done something else, or just told their husbands, and that's probably what they were thinking. So him having murdered those women distracts everyone from her, and it places it all on him and his crimes. So once again, Daytek and his family, they are free and clear to do whatever they want, but things are getting a bit tricky for them. They have to figure out how they're going to do things. So each step they take is just worse, and it makes them worse and worse. And then we get the end of this episode where the new mayor, I guess, we find out that he's not exactly comfortable being human, or he prefers not to be human. And when he mentioned that early in the episode, where he mentioned how he wanted to get out of his own skin when he was inside the Nidwant, I initially thought he just meant he wanted to sleep with a different species, but he wanted it to be very discreet. And I thought he could technically do that there. I thought I was confused for a second. I was like, oh, I thought they had other species there. Maybe I was wrong. But I'm pretty sure they do, and I could still be wrong. I don't know. But at the end of the episode, we find out that him saying he wanted to get out of his own skin didn't mean he wanted to sleep with another species. It means he wants to be another species, which I thought was just crazy. I was not expecting that at all. But we see him in the end of the episode where he has all the makeup on, he has the clothing, and he has his own name. And then he runs into Alak's wife. Also can't ever, I think her name's Christy. I do believe that. So he runs into Christy, who also has put the skin on, and that was mostly because she's kind of dealt with a lot of the crap. Like, she still feels like an outsider in their family, even with bringing the third generation in, or at least the third Earth generation in. She feels like a real outsider in that family still. So she has the makeup on, and she has the wig and stuff too. And they meet in the end, and I have to assume that's where next week's episode is going to pick up. I know it's called If You Could See Through My Eyes or Their Eyes or something like that. So it's going to really focus on the two of them, at least as a side story. I know on the preview it really focused on Arissa killing one of one of the maids of the Ditek family. So I'm sure that'll be the main storyline, but the other storyline will be are these two characters wanting to live as Castisons. So I'm definitely excited for that episode. I'm curious to see if either of them get caught. I feel like the mayor probably won't, just because he's probably been doing it for a long time. He already has the wig and stuff. This wasn't just like, I feel like an outsider, so I'm just gonna do it on a whim. He had the wig and he knows how to do the makeup and he had the clothing. I feel like he's been doing this for quite some time, so I feel like he's already at the point where he won't get caught if he doesn't want to be. But Alak's wife could be found out. Maybe Alak will find her and he'll be like, he could see past the makeup, like, that's clearly my wife, and they'll have a talk about it. But I am excited for next week's episode, or I guess this week's, because I'm doing this one really late. So the episode actually comes on tonight for me. So I definitely enjoyed this episode, though. Of course, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And what do you guys think is going to happen to Pottinger now that he's been basically cast as a failure for losing all his men and not gathering, I guess, the creature, the alien robot hybrid thing? What do you think? What do you guys think is going to happen to him? Because he's been cast out. He's going somewhere. I forgot where he said, but he's just been kicked out. He's got nothing. He's going on a fool's errand. So what do you guys think is really going to happen to him? Comment below. Let me know. And thanks for watching.